Hey, welcome back to the table. Getting ready to start mission 3. One of the viewers left a comment, and it was a very good one. And he asked me to recheck the rules on auxiliary fighters and when you have to pay your penalty. And I said that as long as they survive, we were good. So we have a -2 OP penalty, and then I took 2 experience points off. Well, actually, they have to land the plane. So if they lose the plane, you get the penalty. So what that means is when you're dealing with auxiliaries, you're rolling on this table, and if you don't get the lands outcome, you don't have to roll for what happens to the pilot. Like, this part's irrelevant. As soon as you get anything other than lands, like crashes or it's on fire or it explodes or whatever, you're done. So the lands outcome is all you're looking for. And so that was a very good catch. I'm awful with remembering names. I only remember JB and Andrew for the most part, because they do write a lot. I know there's an Adam out there writing, and there's also an NG something. And I know that whoever wrote this was none of those. So thank you, whoever it is. It's very easy. Just look at the last video. You'll see his comment. And the good news is I hadn't started the next video yet, so we can easily correct this. So I went and rewatched the end of the last video, and I said that there was only a -2 penalty. It's a -4 penalty. So 4 planes crashed, and that means that I'm actually at 19 EP instead of 21. All right, so I know that's a bunch of chicken scratch looking stuff, but that says 19. And I can write it down here to make it more clear. Okay, so it's 19, and we have a 4 OP penalty. So there's a good chance that this particular mission is going to just be a recovery mission. We want to get a couple more EP so I can modify 3 dice rolls. But you never know. I mean, we might end up getting another inbound, and so it's, all hands on deck a second time. Using the auxiliary pilots are... First of all, the rule correction reminded me that this game is challenging, and I was thinking that, boy, for how many pilots we had injured, that's way too good of an outcome. Like, I must have really gotten lucky, and the answer is I didn't get lucky. I just played the rules wrong. So auxiliary pilots are a boon and they're a blessing and a curse at the same time. So I think what you do is you use them. The best analogy I can think of is you have that sports team that thinks they had a real good chance of winning the championship. So they make all these trades. They get rid of some of their upcoming stars, to trade for a rock-solid veteran who's performing awesome this year, right? And all they're thinking about is, we just want to win this year. And they do whatever it takes, and they trade away maybe some of their future so they can position themselves to win right now. And that's what the auxiliary pilots remind me of, is you're using them to win now and not later. And what do I mean by that? Well, because I can spend 1 OP and I get 4 pilots. So I'm getting 4 planes for the price of 1. That's a winning formula. The more planes you have, the more damage you're doing. And then, I put bombs on them, or in this case, they're causing a swarm, which the swarm is very deadly. So there's a lot of those kind of factors that come in. But then, the season ends, and maybe you did win your championship, but the next year you're going to have to, pick up the pieces. And that's sort of what's happening right now. We have to pick up the pieces, and my annoying dog is barking, so apologize. Okay, I think the barking fit is now over. It was a neighbor walking their dog, and how dare they use the sidewalk in front of the house. Okay, so we are now at mission 3. So let's get going. I just need to find our rule book here. Somebody else wrote in the comments that I made this into a teaching video, but then I decided to combine things, which is the most confusing as all get out method possible. It's a fair comment. I do want to address it real quick. Firstly, I have another playthrough where I don't I do the basic game, although I admit there's a lot of errors in that one. And then I do another playthrough where I do the advanced game, which I think is much cleaner. And that's just Skies Above the Reich, base game, advanced game, just one of the two games. Storm and Skies, we keep talking about what's different between them. There's really not much. If you know how to play Skies Above the Reich, Storm should be very comfortable to you. So my first half of that answer is just watch one of the other video series. The second one is I want to teach how to play a combined campaign because I think people are going to want to do it. And who else is going to teach you? It's certainly not going to be Player's Aid. So that's where I fit in, and that's what I'm here for. This is what I do. If there's somebody who's already teaching this kind of stuff, I'm going to just hop on my motorcycle, go for a ride, or play this game on my own and watch their video. Or I got plenty of, Total War Warhammer video games to keep me busy. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And am I doing this? I do this largely to help. So if it's not helpful, then I apologize. The other thing is that I've made a lot of friends with a lot of you. I've never met most of you, but it's really interesting how, we have this friendship through these silly series. So now I get on and I do some games, and there's folks that are glad to see me back. And I don't know, it's almost like you have that buddy that you haven't seen in a couple months, and you finally show up and they're happy you're there. It's that kind of thing. So it's all the above, and I'm hoping that this is helpful. And I think this is a great game. I don't think it's a simple one. In terms of learning, there is a lot of nuance to this. But anyways, I said it would be a quick answer, so I'm going to stop and let's be quick. Okay, so this red die is going to be the map. The black die is going to be determining whether or not Bar gets out of prison over there. All right? And, oh gosh, it should have been the other way around. But we got a 10, and we have an 8. So he doesn't get out of prison. And then the 10, as you may realize, we're going to finally use a Storm Above the Reich component. Oh my gosh. This is the first time in this whole series we're finally using something from Storm, I think. That also means we're going to be using the purchase chart from Storm as well. And it even means that this changes. This pursuit map is not from Storm. So let's get giddy for a little bit until we realize how awful this roll really was. So it's map number 6. So I'm going to write that down. We're going to do map number 6. Okay, so let's talk about what changes. Well, first off, this is the pursuit map for Skies Above the Reich. For Storm Above the Reich, we have 2 of them. Okay, so we have, and how do you know it's a Storm map? It says B24 right there. But we got one that's just for 1943, and then we have a 42-43 where it's tan. So I guess once we pull out the map, we'll know the difference between them. And you can see, looking at the values here, it's actually got a lot of values that are similar to the 43 Skies one. The wing value is 5. I think for Skies it's 6. This is a 3. It doesn't seem to change between them. They got a tough engine on both. I mean, doesn't even seem like there's much of a difference at all. So I don't know, just at a cursory glance, I don't see much of a difference between them. So why did he make 2 of them? I don't know. I'm even looking at the TP costs, and they seem to be exactly the same. These charts seem to be the same. The threat levels seem to be the same. Yeah, I don't know what the difference is between them. Interesting. But they are different from the main, because like you can see right here, this is a 6, that's a 5. So they have some differences, but it's very subtle. Just think, GMT paid to reprint all this stuff, and oh, I see. One of these is an organizer, so you can put your fighter formations on here. So if a box on a formation map is so crowded, you can put your fighters here, and so then I guess you can have a. I mean, if they really made a second chart, just because this one's tan and this one's not tan, that is bonkers. That's absolutely bonkers that they did that. But I think that is what they did. Okay. Well, anyways, like I said, we get a new one of these. It doesn't look excitingly different at all from the other one, but we do have to use this one instead. So let's get the map out, because clearly that makes a difference. And you can see right here that map 5 is the tan one, which makes sense because that's also the sheet was for 1942 and 1943. So in 1943 you could have map number 5 still. So and remember, we were talking about this isn't very different from the B-17 situation, and it was just a slightly bigger formation. But we're on map 6, which is this side, and it is a slightly bigger map than normal. And I know this because I have to move stuff out of the way to make room for it. And then we also have an issue where the board, it doesn't want to lay flat. So I'm trying to see if I can get that going. Oh gosh, that's bad. That's some serious warping. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on for now while we do the other portions of the mission and try to get that to stay down. But let's take a look real quick. They are tan. So they are still tan. So we're going to be using the tan sheet, I guess. It's not very different from the other formation. It's just that it's just a really long formation instead of them like being more grouped together, you know. So I think there is this thing called B24 cohesion. So let's see. Yeah. So if the number is equal or less than the number of markers in the element, it degrades. Remember, in B17, you had to be less than the number of markers. So the rule does slightly change. That's an annoying change, by the way. I wish cohesion rules would just stay the same, and then you fix it some other way through your design. But the fact that they made it so it's equal or less for B24s, but it has to be less for B17s, and it's actually based on the map. So we can go to it, because if you look at the rules for this map, it's equal or less, but if I go to another map, it will actually be just like the B17s. So it varies. That's even worse. Just absolutely worse. I mean, make it like a big modifier that just shows up on the map or something. But yes, they do at least remind you, which I'm glad they did, because I would have forgotten. And I do like the fact that it tells you that there's 4 elements, so you can figure it out. Now, how do I know which element's which? There's like a solid white line here. I can see it pretty easily with the naked eye. I don't know how well the camera shows it. And actually, the solid line goes like this. So this is its own element, or its own little space that's outside of this element and outside of that element. There's a solid white line here and a solid white line there. So this space here is sort of like a no man's land. That's very interesting. It's a no element. So if you get bumped or pushed to that spot, you're not considered to be in an element. And that would be true for bombs and things of that nature. Because remember, when you drop a bomb, you're rolling a die and it's going to show up in certain places. Okay. So I'm at least excited that we're doing that. Now, what else is changing? Well, normally we use this. right? We use this to figure out our how much OP points and all that other stuff we're going to get, but that's not true anymore. What we're going to do instead is use something that I can't find for whatever reason. This one. So this one that says Storm Above the Reich, we have to use that one instead. So that's what changes. And there are differences. We talked about this before, but if you look at 1943 early here, compared to 1943 early, which is up here, right? So this goes 8, 6, 10 in terms of OP, whereas this is 12, 10, 16. So it's significantly less OP. And, oh, hold on a second. No. No, that's not true. We are in Germany North. So Germany North still uses this. The map doesn't dictate this. The Germany North part does. So we're still using this. My apologies. We don't do this. And also, I was going down a path where I was going to tell you we get to use the MC202s. That's not true either. We're in Germany North, so this stuff is not available to us. You may want it to be, but we have to be assigned to the Mediterranean or to Germany South to have those available. So my apologies. We still use this. So let's do that. Let's get going. So for 1943 early, I have an outbound. And then I have, let's roll. I rolled a 7. So it's a really good outcome. I have 10 OP. I mean, I could make it go up to 16 if I want to spend 7, but I think we'll use this as a recovery. And then, of course, I can't choose the escort situation yet. So, and again, when it comes to spending your experience, it's really worth it to get the inbound because you want the extra victory points. This here gives you a lot of extra OP. And when you start to have larger formation maps where there's so many bombers on the map, it almost doesn't matter that you're getting 2 victory points each. I mean, getting 1 victory point each, you could still score just as many points, is what I'm trying to get at. And you get enough extra OP that it's worth it for the, yeah, you're getting less victory points, but you have so many extra planes and equipment out there that you're able to overcome that deficit. I think the largest thing you want to save your staff experience for is for these jerks right here. Because you've seen how they can ruin my day, and they have ruined my day every chance they've gotten. So controlling those escorts is probably the most important thing. Getting a lot of OP points is maybe second, and then the inbound versus outbound would be that's just a nice bonus. A lot of times you usually get lucky enough where you roll inbound naturally, so then you take advantage of that opportunity to spend your points here and here. But obviously that didn't happen here. So we did get a middle rating of 10, so I'm happy with that. That means we're going to get 12 total. We are going to lose 4, so that means we're going to be a net of 8. And remember, I said we're probably going to have to just suck it up, and this will be just a very generic mission. So that's what we're going to do. All right, enough of that rambling. If I get out that sheet that I just had, okay, so we have 8 points to spend, and I think everybody can agree with me that the cannons were really nice. So I am going to buy at least 3 cannons. So that's one of the 8 points. The bombs are also available, but let's see if we can actually bomb. And I'm looking, and it looks like we can. I got to push this to the left a little bit more. Right there, high bombing. There's a cable. So this is for cable here. And that's the part where I get really confused. Because it says that since I'm Germany North, we use the Skies Above the Reich stuff. And of course the map says cable. But I'm assuming that I can do bombs there because this is Germany North, and Germany North has the bombs and not the cables. The cables stink. I'm never buying cables, so we're not going to worry about that. But yes, it is available. So if we wanted to try to do some bombing, we could. This is where controlling the escorts is really important, because if you invest in bombs and then don't invest in the escorts can intercept all your bombers, like what happened to me in that previous mission. So what do we do? That is the $1 million question. What do we do? Oh, and thank you to whoever wrote, it was the person with NG in their name. This silhouette here is for the ME-262 rules, which I never pay attention to because those don't happen until the very end of the game. And I can win a campaign usually before we ever even get to unlocking the ME-262s. I very rarely have ever played with an actual ME-262 in this game, but that's what that's for. That little shadow is for the ME-262. So thank you for whoever answered that. That really was a question I was wondering about. Okay. I think I'm going to stick with my plan that this is just going to be a casual mission that we need to recover. So if I try to bomb, I really could disrupt a lot of these formations pretty easily. But that would cost me 6 of my 8 points. And then I'm putting a whole bunch of auxiliaries out again, which gives me a real high chance that the auxiliaries will get shot down, and then I'll owe more OP next round. Okay, I'm going to pause and think this through. Okay, so I did a couple of things while I was on pause. The first thing is I verified in the rules, absolutely, if you're assigned to Germany North, you use the Skies Above the Reich operations menu, which is bombs, and you use the Skies Above the Reich mission setup, which is this, always. Now, if we were ever assigned to Mediterranean, then we would use the Storm Above the Reich. And then you switch to the Storm Above the Reich situation manual because we're on a map, formation map 6. And yes, just because that says cables, you can still drop bombs. Anywhere that says high bombing, you can drop bombs. So I got all that correct, and there was no weird rules there. So I came up with my 8 that I'm going to spend, and please forgive me here. I'm trying to get some stuff situated. All right, so the 8 that I'm spending, I am going to get 1 set of B F-110s, and I'm putting bombs on them. I'm going to get 4 fighters. 3 of them are experts, and 1 of them is going to be soon. And then I bought 3 cannons, and it'll be for these 2 guys, and we'll give it to Schmidt. Okay? So Buttfargen will not have a cannon. All right? All right. So let's go ahead and roll for the escorts, and I may trump it with 7 experience, which I don't want to spend, by the way, because I want to sort of build that up again. But if this comes out bad, I'm going to override it, and it came out perfect. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 10. So the 10 for 1943 early outbound is L9P. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, we're going to get the P-38s, which are not as good as the Spitfires, and they don't arrive until turn 9. So we have a lot of turns where we can do whatever we want. So the escort arrives turn 9. That's pretty high up on the chart, folks. So I'm sorry, it's not the P-30, it's the P-47. So maybe that's not as, I think that's just as hard. So Let me check real quick. Okay, so the P-47 isn't even on here because this is the Storm Above the Reich table. Let's see, we got 38, 40 or Spitfire, and 51. So the P-47 is the same as the Spitfire. So I think I'm going to write that in so we don't get confused on that. So, where are you? Okay, so that's the same strength. Yeah, and it definitely says P equals P-47. A T would be the P-38. So the P-47s, I think we grabbed those. Yep, those are the Thunderbolts. And they look like this. So it was a light. So we're going to just take that one and that one out. And remember, there's a variant where you could wait to roll the escort setup until turn 9. I don't particularly play with that variant, so I rolled an 8. So we'd have 2 forward and 3 below trailing. And like I said, they don't arrive until turn 9, but that's where they will be. Okay, so I'm going to get this map. A quick look over. I don't think there's anything that's going to be surprising here. Most of the rules, like how much TP it costs to move around the map and stuff, they're usually the same. In fact, I can't recall a situation where they're different. The only thing that really changes is the high bombing. You know, sometimes like it's 2 TP to go there, but some maps don't have that, of course. There is a dogfight box, which we've never run into because by the time we dogfight, it doesn't matter. And that's when escorts intercept you. But if you make it to the dogfight box, you're done. You're definitely not killing any bombers with whoever goes there. So I think that's good. I think the only thing that's jumping out at me is this rule here. The cohesion check is actually in our favor. So it's easier to knock them out of cohesion. And I think the designer made some kind of comment that B-24s were actually harder to pilot than the B-17s, which it's an interesting thing. I never heard that before, but I don't doubt it. And since we are on the new map, the storm map, I always made the comment that we would, when you're doing auxiliary checks for continuing fire, you can choose whichever deck to draw from. So we're going to draw from Storm Above the Reich because we're on a Storm Above the Reich map. I could argue that we should draw from Storm Above the Reich if we're in the South Mediterranean, you know, and maybe tie it to that rule. It's really your choice. There's no hard set rule. The designer gave you the choice, so we just got to decide. So I think since we're on the Storm Above the Reich map, I will do a Storm Above the Reich continuing fire for the auxiliaries. Obviously, if it's a BF-109, I still use the BF-109 continuing fire. Okay. And I'm just rambling while I shuffle some cards between missions here. Should have done that before I hit record. You would think that a person who plays a deep strategy game would remember things like that, but I don't. Okay, and we need to get the vector map out. So let's try to get that going. So I saw a lot of comments about the vector map so far. I think every comment anybody's made has been very fair. I think some people really have liked the vector maps, not because it's a deep strategy edition, but it does impact the game. Like it swings the game. Like the very first time we used the vector map, it really hurt us. Most of our fighters never even made it to the mission, which is something that could happen, right? You could get lost or whatever and never make it to the mission. The vector map has also helped us quite a few times. We've gotten high elevation or other types of advantages, and that has definitely helped us. We've also gotten extra victory points because of the vector map. But then somebody else commented that the vector map being what it is, it just adds significant play time to the game, but it's not adding as much fun as the base game. And that is an assessment I can fully agree with. The base game is a load of fun. This is adding a lot of time to the base game, and how much fun am I getting from it? Very little. All it does is I do like the fact that it gives me extra stuff, and if I can somehow miser my way through this without taking losses, then I can walk away with extra TP, extra OP, stuff like that. That's all this is really doing for me, is it's giving me an edge for later, but it's not always a strong edge. Okay, so I gotta get the situation manual out. This is the very first time we're using the Storm Above the Reich situation manual. And before we do the vector map, I forgot we have to do this. We're on map 6 outbound, so that's page 11. And annoyingly, this one opens the other way. Like the other one opened this way, and now I'm opening this way. I guess it is nice to have all of it in front of you. But it is interesting how they made that choice to do it differently. So we're outbound, so let's see who got hit. I rolled a 10, and there's damage. In fact, there's 4 sets of damage. And I will go ahead and set that up later. But just for the record, that's where we're at. What I want to do is, well, the reason I'm saying let's set it up later is because I got all this stuff sitting on top of the board. But let's do it. This is where the table space becomes an issue. All right, I'm going to put the vector map off to the side. All right, so the first damage is this guy right here. And so he has 2 rudder damage. The next one is this guy. And it is a wing. And he has 2 wing damage. The third one is this guy. And he has 3 cockpit damage. And then the last one is this guy. Who has 2 thumbs and 1 wing damage. That guy. I guess it's not as funny. I'm laughing at it. I'm sorry. That was awful. All right. I rolled 3 for the anchor. And if you'll just trust me off the screen, the anchor is low. So low tail gets the anchor. And then the sun, I rolled a 1. The sun is high nose. So that's over here. And then the tactical points, I rolled a 7, so we get 4 of those. So we finally have a decent amount, and I'm just going to bump it up to 6 because we're playing with the vector. The flight limit, oh my gosh, I rolled a 10. So we have 10 turns, and that gets bumped up to 12. So the escorts are going to arrive, and we have a whole bunch of turns after that. But this might be a good opportunity to get some tactical points. And there are no contrails on this map, according to the situation. And now I can put that away. We can get out the vector map, but I have to be careful because I don't want to bump the damage that's out there. So I have, this is normally where I put the camera, so I'm going to have to just hold it. But yeah, these are first world issues here. So as usual, I'm going in with 3 groups. Like that. And let's roll the 2 dice. Remember, larger numbers are always better. And that's a 12. And what happens is we're getting a fighter, or a bomber, that's scattered, and then an R, which is radio. Okay, so the red number is going to be for the bomber, and remember we need even. And this is for the radio, which we also want an even. But the radio doesn't hurt me, even if it's an odd. It hurts me a little. So we got 2 odds. So that blows. Okay, so what the radio one does is it causes us to lose a tactical point. And then we have to take a delay marker, which we found that isn't, the worst thing in the world. And I'm going to go ahead and delay our BF-109s. And then we have a straggler bomber here, which only gets 1 damage instead of 2. And that 1 damage is going to be 4 wing damage. That's pretty good. I would have to spend some TP to hunt them down. And I do have cannons, and remember my guys with the cannons are good. And I think that is exactly what I'm going to do. And the FW-190s are excellent at it. I'm going to send Aaron's to go after him. And Aaron's, we have 5 tactical points up there. I'm going to give him 2. So he'll have 2 tactical points for when he does his mission. All right. And just rule reminder, that should be done right now, but then we're constantly flipping out pieces, and I'm just going to do that later. All right, so everybody's moving forward. Let's do the next phase. Higher number, the better. A 9 is not a high number. You would think it is, but it's not. But the good news is that's not a bad outcome. It's weather. So weather just means we have to move somebody to higher altitude, and so we'll move them, and no big deal. So now we're going to move forward one last time, and they're all coming together because I'm not going to spend TP on this. And now we're rolling 2 dice. As always, higher the better. And that's a 13. And a 13 is somebody has to go home, and we got another straggler. So the one that's going to go home is going to be the one without the cannon, and that's Butt Vargan. He is an expert now, but if he dies, we can't replace him anymore. So he's the one I will always send home. And this is for the straggler. Another odd outcome. So we never get the extra damage. And for this guy, we get 3 elevator damage. That's an insta-kill. So whoever arrives is just going to arrive to a dead body. That's an interesting issue. So basically, whoever I send isn't going to get any experience points. It's just an auto death. So I'm going to send Schmidt here, the BF-109. Now the question becomes, with the him having a delay on him, I think I have to roll. So I'm going to do that. And I rolled a 9, which is more than enough. And so here's, why am I rolling? They're no longer in this, like this bomber was straggling, but because this is delayed by a turn, I have a 1-turn delay. So if I would have rolled a 1, he would have failed to intercept. It's like an interception check. But I rolled a 9, so we're totally fine with the interception. So yes, this delay will go away, and we don't even need to resolve this one. This is just a kill. All we had to do was just make it. And so Schmidt doesn't gain any experience, but the staff does, which is the whole point of that. So the staff will get 2 for a kill, and we get 1 victory point. And yeah, nothing for the pilots. So now we will enter the map here, and we literally just have some guys with bombs and 1 single fighter. This is a very interesting situation. Remember, we can only come low because we're at level right now. We can only arrive low. Yeah, we're going to do low here, and then he's also going to be with them. I mean, he'll be his own separate pilot, of course, but we're going to take advantage of the, we're going to get a lot of tactical points, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is done. I just feel like that whole thing could be accomplished with a tiny little player aid. It just seems like it's so big and bulky for what it does. I mean, heck, it's really just you're rolling dice against a table. And then you have 3 boxes, low, middle, high. But let's go. We're going to do the pursuit map. And I just had it out, so my apologies. We're going to do the tan B-24s. 4 wing damage. I gave myself 3 tactical points, I believe. Nope, I only gave myself 2. And as always, I'm going to come in high nose. And let's roll for the wing first. 7 to 10 and he's dead. All right, that was a 1. So high nose for Aaron's. 0. So we take a hit and nothing happens to him. So that blows. And Aaron's does not have any skills, I don't think. Nope. So this could be a very short pursuit. All right, we got a rudder 7. That's not good. I rolled a 9. That is excellent. So now I'm going to go tail level with 1. And yes, the threat is 2. So tail level 2. I get 2 hits and have no ammo left. But remember, I have a cannon, so that's basically I'm drawing 4 tokens. So this should be the death nail. I only need 1 more wing hit to put this thing down. So I just need to draw. There's an engine and a cockpit. All right, so this is an interesting one. I'm out of ammo. So the engine would give me extra TP, which is useless because I'm out of ammo. The cockpit, though, is good because I have a 50% chance of bailout. So I'm going to take the cockpit. And so let's roll. And there it is. There's a 10. He bails out, and we have a destroy. We have a kill. So Aaron's is going to get 2 victory points or 2 experience points, and he does level up and become an expert. So let's get this out of the way. So let's start with the staff log. Staff gets 2 more experience points and 1 more victory point because we're only getting 1 since it's an outbound mission. But the 4 experience points is huge because, you know, we need to get this number up, and the victory points just keep coming, which that part we like. And then Aaron here is getting 1, 2 experience. So we're going to cross all that out, and we're going to give him a luck. Because keeping them alive is more important than anything else. And that's good. I like it. I like Pizza Steve. All right. I've used that quote a lot, but that's another movie reference. Okay, so I need to go get some caffeine. So I'm going to pause the video, and once I'm back, we will get started with the mission. Okay, let's get going. That caffeine break actually was a very long break. Okay, we're on turn 1. Mission turn 1. Escorts don't arrive until 9, so let's make some damage. Well, first thing we do is we just move on. The cohesion checks, I actually have to do them now because if I equal the tokens, it actually loses cohesion. So I can technically roll 1. So for these 2 up here, I'm just going to do red is always first, and then black, and then red, and then black. And the only thing that matters is I need to roll 1, and I didn't. So no harm there. There's an interesting thing. The nose high gives you a sun advantage. And so we may want to try to do a nose high attack at some point. But right now we're going to take advantage of the fact that we can go to any tail for 0 TP. And so they're going to go to high tail. And then this one, I'm very tempted to attack, but I'm also worried. The tail low does have the anchor. So if there is an anchored tail, these guys are getting +1. So coming in from the tail is actually pretty dangerous. So what I can do is I can go to, well, I mean, it's not super dangerous because, I mean, it's a 2, but it becomes a 3 is what I'm trying to say. I could do an oblique attack and then just do a climb roll this way. And you can see here that this is just a 1. So if I do an oblique attack here, I have a very low threat. And then even if I climb roll, it only turns into a 2. That's really good. Same here, 1 turns into a 2. And this is where I would have some questions like, this base, what's it adjacent to? Is it adjacent to this one? I would say if you're going this way, but what about this way? Like, can I go from here to there? I'm going to say no, because it looks like it's at the end of the map. Same here. There doesn't seem to be a connection, so it's just a little odd. So yes, I could probably do an oblique attack, and then the biggest concern I have is if I end up getting unnecessarily hit, then he's not available to pursue any bombers that fall. And so there's a part of me that's like, well, I think I need to wait. And I also forgot to do something on turn 1. Technically, we're doing turn 2 right now, but on turn 1, on the recovery phase, we're going to lower the flight limit to give ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tactical points. And the reason it's 5, it was because of 4 there and 1 here. So the other thing I can do is for 0 TP, I can still move up. And I can spend a TP to go to the nose. And here I can go to any nose for 2 TP, and I'm actually going to do that. So I'm going to go to nose high for 2 TP. That's not something I normally do, but we're rolling in the TP right now. And then because of the escorts coming on turn 9, I'm going to use the recovery phase to do this and then go up by 4. And the reason I can do that is because I have a group over there. You can just keep doing regroup over and over again as long as you're willing to lose the flight limit, which I was. So we've lost 2 flight limit turns and given ourselves 9 total TP. So since I grabbed 9 free TP, I spent 2 to go to the nose. That was what I did. I'm not saying that was a best economy, but what else am I going to do with this guy? I don't want to do an oblique attack that has a real low chance of hitting and a high chance of me taking damage. So just for giggles, I'm going to draw the oblique card, and let's see what it would have been. We would have probably been determined, and so we would have gone in. It would have been a low oblique attack, determined with a threat level of 1. We would have taken a damage. See, that's exactly the situation. And it looks like when you do oblique, you might be better off staying evasive, right? Who knows? I mean, this is just 1 card. But that would not have worked out well. And then, so I would have taken a hit, and then I would have had to also draw a continuing fire, which may have caused another hit. Now, the good news is Iflin does have a luck skill, so he would have been able to absorb the hit, but you at least understand what I'm saying. So we'll leave it be. All right, so that was turn, well, no, we're not done with turn 2 yet, because we have to do a cohesion check. Same rules. 10, 5, 6, 7, so no cohesion failure. Now, turn 3 is when some magic's going to happen. So we're on turn 3. These 4 are moving to high bombing, and now we're going to be causing some fireworks. So bombs are going to drop, and then I'm going to do a nose high attack, and by doing so, if I do it evasive, I'm guaranteed to have a blocked hit because the sun will block a hit if I'm evasive. If I do it determined, then the sun will only block a hit if I roll an even. And we've not had very good luck with rolling evens when we need them. Although that one time with the sun, we did luck out. But if I go evasive, which I don't have to decide yet, right? But just in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go evasive. I automatically have 1 free hit block. And then he has the luck skill, so he can block a second hit. This is a pretty conservative attack. And we can attack some plane. whichever one we end up deciding to do, and come in high. Now, one of the issues is like this guy coming in high. See, there's +1. So if you come in high on him, the threat level goes up. But we don't have to decide yet. We can wait. And yes, there's a lot of spots where the high attack is not necessarily as good, but you know, we can judge it from some other point. Okay, so we had 3 cannons. This guy does have a cannon. He's the only one left with a cannon. And so I'm going to put that on him as well, just so we don't forget that he has one. And none of the BF-110s have one. Okay, so now we got to pay attention to the order. So return, nothing happens. Escort, recovery. They are still in the box. So if I want to recover one more time, I can. My tactical points is at 10. The max is 12. The flight limit is 1 more than the escorts arrive. So I can afford to reduce the flight limit 1 more time if I wanted to. But I'm just going to leave it. There's no rush. And blast and flak. This is where the magic's going to happen. All right. So where are we going to bomb here? That's the question. And just to refresh your memory, we are on formation map 6. So we're using the same one as Skies Above the Reich. We're going to roll dice, and that's going to determine where it hits. But this is for an element. And so we have to pick which element we're going to hit. And that's where this page. We have to aim. So we have to select an element to aim, and where are we going to drop our bombs? We pick. And then for each element, we then go to step 2B. If we're firing rockets, if we're dropping bombs, we're going to have to do this step, which we will do. And then after we do this step, this happens. Okay? So there's a chance that the bomb's just going to miss. But if the bomb, and for a BF-110, if it blasts, there's a 60% chance it's going to blast. If it blasts, then we do the blast location and go from there. So we do have a chance that we're just going to miss outright. We're dropping 4 bombs. There is a temptation to say, okay, there's 4 elements, so let's just drop 1 bomb in each element. I would recommend that that's not what you do. It could be overkill to drop all 4 bombs in the same element because there's only 3 bombers in an element. So that could be overkill, or depending on how you roll, it could be just barely enough. If we roll a lot of 1 to 4s and these bombs miss, it could turn into nothing burgers. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 and 2. And we like to, start with the edge and take out the edge bombers first. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 bombs in this element, and I'm going to do 2 bombs in this element. And then we'll just leave those other ones for some other time. And remember, this was supposed to be our conservative mission. We're not really trying to destroy the whole map. So let's just try to destroy these 2 elements. And, and more than that, because it's a conservative mission, look, there's 6 bombers here. Like, could I even pursue all 6 of them if they drop out? The answer is no. I only have 5 total fighters on the map. And 4 of them are BF-110s, which aren't the best at pursuing. So another strategy we could do is we could just say, okay, I'm going to drop all 4, because if I get 3 bombers, that's 3 victory points, and that's good enough for me, right? I might be happy with that. This is really a tough choice, to be quite honest. I'm still hemming and hawing. I think in a normal situation, I would do 2 and 2. I'm tempted to do 3 and 1. See, this guy here with the cockpit, that cockpit damage is almost a guaranteed kill. So if we pursue him, he has a 60% chance he's dead, because we're going to roll a die, and if it's a 5 through a 10, he's already killed on arrival. But that means, though, we have to knock him out of the sky. He's still in formation, but if we can get him to drop, that would be really nice. And so then, it's okay, Jeff, well then stop putting your 4 bombs down here, just put your 4 bombs up here, right? You know what? That's probably not a bad idea. So instead of going after the edge, we'll just go after this one. We'll drop all 4 bombs there. Okay, let's do it. All right. I'm rolling. And just a reminder, this is the aim part. So it is considered a miss for a BF-110 dropping bombs if I roll a 1 to a 4. So I need a 5 to a 10 for them to be a hit. There's 4 of them. It doesn't matter which of the 4 we're rolling for. I'm going to roll twice. And anytime I roll a 1 to a 4, I have to take one away. Okay? So I got a 9 and a 2. So 1 bomb missed. And there's a 9 and a 4, so another bomb missed. So 50% of them missed. And that's going to be a nothing burger. So now I'm really glad I put all 4 in the same element, because we only have 2 of them that are detonating now. And even if they don't actually damage a bomber, you want at least 2 to detonate in the same element. And you'll see why in a second. 2 is pretty satisfying. And I say that in a very sadistic way. Okay, so we're going to roll one at a time. I have to roll 2 dice for each one. And just to remind you, what am I rolling for? I'm rolling for the blast location, and you can see the rules are very well explained here. I don't want to get doubles. If I get doubles, that's a complete miss. And so I'm going to roll for the first one here. And you can see I got a 10 and a 6, and this is an excellent roll. And you may not understand why yet, but you will very soon. So let's start with what you have to do is which number is the highest, right? So the red number is the highest, so that's the one we're going to start with first. So we go to this chart, and it's formation map 6 or any skies above the right map, which is this one. And R10, red, that was the highest number. It goes here. If it was the black 10, we would go here. This would have been a devastating hit, this one right here. But this one will at least hit the front bomber. So the detonation is occurring in this space right here. So you got to go grab a detonation marker, and it goes here. And that is where we want it to be. I mean, ideally this would have been perfect, but this is still very acceptable. Now, the reason why I said this was an excellent roll is because of this. The 6, you need both numbers to be high. And here's why. Because the second number, whatever the lowest number is, goes against this table. And if it was a 1 to a 4, it does no damage at all. But we rolled a 6, which means it does 1 damage. So this bomber that's on that space takes a damage. And then on top of it, the detonation is going to cause cohesion issues as well. So we did get a hit, and this is really good. So the hit is an engine one, but we have to do the catastrophic effect first. And of course I roll 2. It was a really good chance, but we didn't do it. So he has an engine damage. And this detonation marker stays right there. Now it is possible. See, we rolled a red 10. It is possible for the detonation to occur out here. Now, that is a bizarre situation because it means you would have had to roll a 1 and a 2, right? Because the largest number is what determines this. But if you rolled a 1 and a 2, let's say the 2 was black. Let's play this situation out. The detonation marker would have actually moved to here. So now the detonation is occurring in this element because here's the element line. It's not occurring in this element anymore. So when you're dropping these bombs and the elements are close together like that, it is possible that it could end up in another element. Now let's say it was the red 2. See, the red 2 is right here. The red 2 would have caused it to go into this element. This is not even an element. This is an element, that's an element, this is nothing land. So this detonation would have occurred and it would have affected nobody. But we got lucky. It's right there. Okay, so one of the bombs is accounted for. Let's do the other one now. And remember, you want high numbers, but no doubles. And so this is another situation. This is a miss. You can already know that if you remember from what we just looked up. And then that's an excellent, perfect roll. So just a quick reminder, the black 10 means we hit right in the middle, which is where we wanted. However, the 1 to 4 means there was no damage. But it is still good. Just getting a detonation is half the battle, and you'll see why in a second. All right, so that was the blast and flak, and that phase is over. We dropped all 4 bombs. These guys can go to any high position for 0 TP on their next move phase. And it says only fighters with cable attachments are allowed in this box. That's not true because of this stupid combining rules, and it should be bombs as well, even though the rules don't address it. Okay, so the detonations. This occurs before we attack, and that's extremely important. And here's why, because the cohesion check occurs right now. So we're going to do these two zones. Remember, a 1 could cause an effect, but it doesn't. But here we have boom and boom. So what the detonation does, and it's written here in the cohesion area, is after the cohesion check, a detonation marker degrades the element's cohesion by 1 level. So first thing we have to do is roll for a cohesion check. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I rolled a 1. So it does degrade right now, and it becomes a loose element. So all of the threat levels got reduced by 1. And then we got to do this last area here. And I don't roll a 1, so nothing happens there. Okay, so now at the end of the cohesion check, these detonations go off. This causes this to degrade to a kaput, and then this causes this to knock out one of the bombers. And it's going to be whichever one has the most damage. They both have the same number of tokens on them, and then we get to choose. And so I'm going to choose to knock this one down. And so this guy becomes fallen, and he goes off onto the mission board, and the kaput goes back up to loose, which always happens when one of the bombers falls out. So the bombs did their job. They took out a bomber, and they loosened up that element by a lot. We get an experience point for our staff because a bomber fell. And now we go to the attack phase, and here comes Johnny Sunshine, right? And we get to attack something. Now, one of the things I could have done is I actually could have knocked this one down and then attacked here, which would have probably been better because here he gets a +1 for high. That wasn't really good thinking on my part, but I could also go here and attack this one. You know, which one do I do? You tend to want to try to focus on the ones that already have some damage on them, but the threat level does go up. I think it all depends on where am I going to end up after I do this attack. I'm going to come in for this one, and yes, I have a 3 threat, but it becomes 2 because of this. And this does reduce all these numbers, but it doesn't reduce this one. So it is a 2 threat nose high. Now, which way am I going? I have to decide this before I start drawing these cards because it's a mistake I always make. Typically, I think you just want to try to go to the tail, but I think what I want to do is I want to set up a possible swarm. But I also have a bomber that fell out that we need to pursue. So do I want to set up a swarm or do I want to go after that bomber? I think I just want to go after the bomber. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dive roll this way. So that way I can, actually if I dive roll that way, I get less threat. So I'm going to dive roll that way. All right, nose, high, threat of 2. I just grabbed a tail card. Nose, high, threat of 2, and boom, no ammo. Oh no, I'm evasive. I chose evasive. Well, so I don't lose my ammo, but I still take a hit and don't do anything to him. Could have hit if I had different threats. But that's where the sun comes in, right? That absorbs the hit for me. So no worries there. And nothing happens. We don't hit him. Nothing cool to write home about or tell mom about. And then, what was the number? The number was 1. So that means we're going to roll this way. And because of the loose element and the fallen, this 2 becomes a 0. So that's really good. We're in evasive mode. We're dive rolling. So this doesn't account, and we're at 0, so nothing happens, which that part's good. And this guy will safely go to the evasive return box over here. So it'll take him a few turns before he can pursue a bomber, but it is something he could possibly do. So the turn's over, and now we go to mission turn 4, and we have a move action. So these guys can move to any high for 0 TP. So why not go to high with the sun, right? There's a sun here. So we would do that. I know that it makes the threat higher coming in high, but the sun sort of mitigates that. And then this return would go up. Now, one thing I could have done is I could have sent one of these after that bomber. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do exactly that. I'm going to send this to pursue this guy right here. So one of the bombers is going to break off to pursue, or one of the fighters is going to break off to pursue that bomber. And yeah, does it mean I'm not going to get Schwarm? Of course, but I'm not trying to get Schwarm anyways. That would require too much risk. I'm going to have to double up and all this other stuff. So that's the end of that turn. Oh no, cohesion. I apologize. We got to do cohesion. So these two, I got a 1. So we actually got a loose, which is now considered a second token. So now a 1 or a 2 will cause that one to degrade. And then we're going to get to here, and I have 3 tokens here. And it's good. That it can never improve beyond this, so nothing changes. And then the last one, only a 1 would have made a difference. That's a 7. Okay, so now we go to mission turn 5. And yes, we're going to attack with these 3. They're all going to have the sun with them. And if I make them evasive, I can guarantee that they block a hit. And I'm going to do that. And then this guy's going to return to here. So it took him 2 turns to get back and ready. And then now these 3, I'm sorry, we got to do cohesion first. So we're going to do the first 2. This one, a 1 or a 2 would have mattered, but it didn't do anything. And then here it's a 3 and a 1. And neither of those happen. So no cohesion failures. And now we come in for the attack. So I got 3 guys. I'm going to make all of them evasive. Evasive for the BF-110s is very helpful because it gets rid of that +1 to the threat. And then because I have the sun, they all get the sun bonus. And they are high altitude. And I'm going to put 2 of them here and 1 of them there. Or should I do the other way around? Yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay, so this is a 3 reduced to a 2. And then, of course, yeah, it's just a 2. And then this is a 2 reduced to a 1. So I could try to do this one first. But even if I damage this guy and knock him out, it doesn't change this one. Because of the way their formation is, this little space is sort of protected. Only kaput can ruin that a little bit. Okay, since they're all evasive, I still have to draw a collision check. And I'll just do collision check on whichever one's on top. And you can see I got no impact. But this won't stay on because it's evasive. And then we'll go ahead and do nose high. And it's a threat of 2. Nose high, threat of 2. And there you can see I progressed 2. Oh, they're all moving towards the tail. And I think they were going to dive. Yeah, they're diving to the tail. So progress 2, we get a hit, but we take a hit. And because I'm evasive, the sun will absorb the hit. And he's going to progress 2, which means he's going to go 1, 2, like that. And so when we do continuing fire, he's going to be in a 1 zone. And we do a hit. So there's no cannons on these guys, so just 1 draw. And the draw is an engine. I draw 3, so now we got another engine hit on there. And then we got to do continuing fire. I'm diving, and I'm at a 1, so I'm okay. So this guy will go into the evasive return box here. Now we got the same thing. Nose, high, 2, there's a 3 here. We are evasive, so there's no hit, no nothing actually. It just moves 3 spaces. So he's gonna go 1, 2, and then he's stuck. Doesn't go any further. And then we have a 1, nothing happens, nothing happens. And then this guy, same deal. It's nose high, but only 1 threat. So he does a hit and then he gets a no ammo. And go ahead and put a no ammo on him. And let's get our hit in. All right, so we have a fuselage. So no die roll, just a 1 damage on this guy. And yeah, he, what was the progress on this one? Just 1. So he goes to here. He's still in the element. So he still gets a -1, so that's a 1. And you can see here, he's diving though, but this is, if an escort marker is in the below trailing station. Now I have them there, but technically they're not there until they enter the map. So we're immune to that, and yeah, nothing happens. And so he survives just fine, but he has no ammo. So if I pursue a bomber, it's got to be a guaranteed kill situation, but we'll at least put him there for now. Maybe he'll provide some use. Okay, so the turn's over, and now we're on to mission turn 6. As you can see, we're 6 turns in, and we haven't scored an awful lot. We did score 2 victory points, but that was from the vector map. But like I said, we're being conservative, and it's sort of working. We do have some cohesion issues here. Let's start red and black. Neither of those happen, and then red and black. And both of them, I think, happen, so let's check. The black for sure happens. And then the red is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I rolled a 4. So they both happen. So we're going to put a loose element down here, and then this one flips over to kaput. So their threat level is very, very low. And oh, I'm sorry, we were supposed to do our moves first before knowing that. That's okay. That's okay. Here, they're moving. This one could do a low oblique attack. So why not? We're going to do a low oblique. And then we're going to try to do a climb. We're going to do a roll climb this way. And it wouldn't have mattered. I would have had a -1 and -1. This would have still been a 0, even without knowing about this. So that's not an issue. Now that I know about this, I might change my mind and go after this one, but that's also a different issue. So do I want to do evasive or aggressive? Always a good question. Always a difficult answer to give. I'm going to go determined. Or no, we thought that evasive actually was better last time. I'll do determined. We're going to come in determined, and since these guys are at the tail, this one's not very juicy or very friendly, although we're going to be tail low. This one would be nice to knock out, because I have a feeling we're going to get points for this one. This one, not so much, but the more tokens, the better. You know what? Since we have a -3, I'm going to go after this one. Okay, let's do it. So it's oblique, low, determined with a 0. So I have to do a collision check. I progress 2 spaces, but I do get a hit. And the evasive would not have. So I made the right choice there. The progressing 2 spaces part moves me 1, 2 like this. That's only a threat level of 1, so we're good there. Let's do the hit on him. We have a cannon, so I'm drawing 2. We have an engine 6 or a wing 8, and it's a 4 or a 0. So logically speaking, the 6 is easier to get than the 8, so let's try the, although the wing damage is nice. Let's try for the engine. And I don't get it, so it's another marker at least. And then we got to do a collision check, which this could be a little problematic. I'm not evasive, and the collision check is a proximity 2. So I roll, and as long as I didn't get under a 2, I'm okay. So I pass it. That part, those you can usually pass, but you get that one bad roll, and then your life is not as fun. And here I am determined. I'm not diving, and I take a hit. So that part's not good. He has a luck skill, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. And, oh, he had the aim skill. So I'm going to get another hit on this thing. I forgot about that. He has the aim skill. So let's get another hit. So get 2 more out. We have a fuselage and a wing. And neither of them we roll dice for, so it's just whichever one we want. And it's either the gunner or that. I'm going to go with the wing. Wasn't very good hits there. So then this guy goes wee 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 all the way home. Now we move to mission turn 7. We still don't have them down, but we're doing fine. This guy's going to return up. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong side. He's returning to the high. These guys are returning from low. And we got to do cohesion. Neither of those. Then we go here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's a real good chance we're going to get a drop. And there is, and we hit it. So the one with the most tokens drops. So it's this guy. Drops out. And that's on mission turn 7. He is not a guaranteed kill, but he does become fallen. And then this upgrades from kaput to loose. And we got basically one final guy. All right, now we go to mission turn 8. So what I'm going to do is, this is a great opportunity to attack. But he has a cannon. And so we want victory points. We dropped somebody. So I'm going to go ahead and pursue this particular bomber and try to get a kill. So now we just have one bomber left in this particular element. We can always go after the other elements if we wanted, but remember, we're playing conservative here. We have 3 BF-110s. One of them has no ammo. I can leave him behind and, just do something cute, like go up here, some level or whatever. The anchored tail is only an issue if you're going into a spot that has the anchored, value. This guy here is a 0 because this is a -1, 2, and 3. So that is a 0. So we can do a low tail attack. We have one more. Next turn, the escorts arrive. So if we down this guy this turn, we would have to go determined. And the reason we have to go determined is because we have to return to the box in time to pursue the bomber after it falls. Actually, this one could pursue the bomber right away, but he's in no ammo situation. We do have 2 engine damage, so it's possible the no ammo guy will be able to take him out. But that's the part that we have to be worried about. If I go in evasive, it'll take me too many turns to get out of the return box so I can pursue that bomber. But if I go evasive, there's a good chance I won't get hit. So that's some of the dilemma I have. And then, of course, if I don't go evasive, this adds +1 to the threat. And do I really want to lose my BF-110s at the end here? I've been doing so well at staying conservative. This is sort of an aggressive move. And then we run the risk of those escorts nabbing us if they roll well enough. I'm going to go ahead and get aggressive. Let's do 2 of them coming in. So the threat level is going to be 1 because of that. But a 1's not that bad. Or at least those are my famous last words. So we're coming in on the tail where the anchor is. I want to make sure that I can really use that anchor space. I'm pretty sure that anchor space just means they get their bonus. It doesn't affect us, but I want to make sure. It's very rare that I actually step on an anchored space, so I can't remember the rule. I'll be right back. Okay, GMT gets all the credit in the world. There's an index on the back of the rule book. You look it up. There's the word anchored, and there's even like a parentheses that says go to this page for the move step, and sure enough, we're not allowed to move into an anchored space. So the best I can do, because we return low like this, the only option I have is to move up. Or I can spend TP to move to the flank. Or I can go to nose high or, any of those types of situations. So there was no other choice I had. And that is pretty much, I think, going to wrap it. Because I don't think there's anything else I can do. So now this mission turn goes up to the next level. Well, hold on. Not yet. I moved up, but now we got to do cohesion. So this one actually fails. Goes to kaput. And then here, this one fails. And this goes to kaput. And that's it. So now we move up. Escorts are arriving, and we do our move. So, for example, I could do a level attack if I wanted. My no ammo guy, for example, can go. So we're going to go ahead and exit him and have him, try to intercept something that's not yet there. But we're allowed to do it because there's 2 other bombers there. To at least get the no ammo guy off the map. So then the question is what do I do with these guys? If I attack with both of them, I screw myself over. The only guy who's going to be able to intercept this bomber if he falls is the no ammo guy, which might be enough. These 2 engine damage alone could be enough for the no ammo guy to intercept. If I want to be able to intercept with some real guy with ammunition, I need to keep one behind, like that. And now the problem is that there's a chance that they will intercept nose level, the escorts. So in order to avoid nose level interception, I have to move up to get away from the nose level spot. Now, how do I know that? Well, you got to study the escorts here. These guys can go to nose level if I roll a 5 to a 7, so I don't want that. And so I had to get out of the nose level. And yeah, I'll attack with one of them, and I can decide if it's determined or evasive later. So then the escort step happens next. So we'll do that right now. And I'm going to roll the red die for the forward and the black die for this. So it's a 3-10. So this one's a 3, so he goes to above trailing. And the 10 also goes to above trailing, which means that they're jerks. So it's just funny how they go to above trailing so fast, but they do. So then we got to do cohesion checks. And most of this is just silly rolling, but, for example, this one passed the cohesion check, so this actually improves. This one never failed. And then we come down to here, and there's a chance that it's going to fail. We'll see. The 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, causes this to improve, and then the 4 is no big deal. Okay, so the cohesion check is not something we can rely on to bring this bomber down. The only man up for the job is this BF-110. His name is Friedrich von Liechtenstein. Yeah, we're going to merge some of our games. Ulrich von Liechtenstein. How about that? We can reference a movie. And so the threat level is 0. If I come in determined, it'll be a 1. So which one do I want to do? I'm at tail level. Yeah, I'm going to just come in with a 1. So we're at a tail level threat of 1. tail level, threat of 1. We take a hit, we do a hit, and we can ride the tail. The evasive would have worked. All right, so we take a hit, which becomes, well, that's not good. We do a hit, which is a fuselage. I need a perfect 10, and I get it. Oh my gosh, look at this. I got a 10. So this bomber falls. He's not a bomber that's an insta-kill, but he does fall. And I'm just setting him up off the map here. And the staff is going to get an experience point for that. That puts us up to 6. The bomber doesn't get one. So I don't need to ride the tail. So I won't draw another card. And we do have to do a continuing fire. The threat level is 0. He is determined. And so he does take another hit. But actually, if I roll an odd, he will not take that hit. So this is the one time I actually want to roll an odd. And of course, I roll an even. So I am going to take this hit, and then I place a damage marker on the nearest bomber, which is very far away. I guess you could argue that this is 1, 2 spaces away. So this is the nearest bomber. Yeah. So he gets one of those. And we have to draw another hit for this guy. All right, so we have to, this is obviously next turn, and we can just move it up to next turn right now. So we're on the final mission turn. This guy's going to move to intercept. So we're going to come here to intercept that bomber group. And then, you know, this guy is in some climb evasive, or I'm sorry, direct return climb box. He doesn't get to move. The escorts go right now. So we got the above trailing guy. I roll a 7, so it's going to go to the box with the most fighters. Well, that's this return box. So we're being attacked after we already had 2 damage on us. It's just a crazy situation, but that's really what's happening. And there's 3 of them, and you know they have altitude advantage on us, and yeah, we're not having a good day. So the VF-110s are in their box all of their own down here. The P-47s have that box. The answer is no and no. So we're on the bottom row, and we got to roll really high just to survive, and we don't even survive. We get destroyed. That's what that little X means. We get killed. So I'm going to -1. So -1 OP and -1 to our experience for the next, well, -1 OP for the next mission. -1 for experience. This guy never made it home. So, okay, we played conservative. We got a little aggressive. I hope you're understanding how much these escorts are just so annoying and can really ruin days. So, and ruin your plan. So maybe I should have just sent him home before I had to pay the OP. But losing 1 OP is not that big of a deal. I mean, it hurts, but it's not as bad as losing 4. The mission's over. We don't need to, because all the fighters are gone, we don't do any cohesion checks, and there's no point. It's not like anything would have fallen out anyways. These all go in the same box. The anchor and the sun goes in a different box. Damage markers, and then the climb marker. All right, we cleared the board. Let's pursue some fighters here. So get our pursuit map. If we look at this, this guy is going to intercept this, no problem. This guy intercepts this, no problem. The no ammo guy can intercept him, but then he would be the first pass guy, and I don't want him to be. So no ammo guy is going to just decline and go home. And then this guy will intercept this, no problem. So we have 3 intercepts we need to do. Let's see if we can get some more points. All right, we have 10 tactical points off the board. So let's just see how this plays out. I think as part of setup, I get to roll for this first. And I do roll, but it didn't happen. So that stinks. So now I got to determine how many tactical points I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him 3. So I'm down to 7. And yeah, we'll go ahead and come in high, evasive high. So there's no threat. And where's my nose attack? So nose, high, evasive is a hit. So this is actually really good. So we got our hit in. This is not a cannon situation. So just going to be 1, and it's an engine. So the good news about the engine, we get 2 of these, we roll, nothing happens. So now I have to pay a TP because he went evasive, which I was okay with. I need to roll for sun. The sun, there is no sun. Okay, so where do we want to go? I do think that the level attack is good, but the threat level is 2, and this guy makes it a 3. That's the part I'm worried about. So it's an aggressive way to take this bomber down, but I probably will lose this guy. Like, he'll crash or whatever, or take damage. And that's the thing I have to concern myself with. Now, is it worth it to lose an OP next round and an experience point if I can get a victory point? I would say yes, because victory points are that. This is the whole reason you play the game, is to score. So what does that mean then? What am I going to do? If I go here, that's too costly. So am I going to go evasive level? If I do, that's going to cost me 2 TP. I'm not close to even killing this thing, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do evasive level. All right, so it costs me 1 TP to go to the space, and then it'll cost me another TP because when you do an evasive return, you have to spend a TP. So evasive level. I don't do this very often. It's a threat of 2, and look at that. Oh my gosh, I made the wrong choice, although I would have been here. I take a hit. And that hit is a 3. We can survive this. No, we can't. So this guy goes to the wing. That is the crappiest roll, but you know, I'm not complaining. I had a lot of really good rolls, but this was a lost opportunity to get some victory points, and I'm a little bummed about that. All right, next guy. Oh, I gotta pause real quick. Okay. So this guy has a cannon. He's one of our named guys. All of his skills are used up, but we get experience points big time. So we definitely want to kill this one. We have 1 wing damage. We have 1 engine damage. We get 2 TP for that. And then we have a turret, which we don't really get very often. So let's talk about what the turret does. A damage marker in this box grants an attack advantage each turn. Level attacks benefit from neither advantage unless both turrets are inoperable. So basically, what does the attack advantage mean? So if the high turret is damaged, I think it means we cancel a hit. If we roll even, I'm sorry. Yeah, so hold on, let me just show you. I rolled an odd, so that means the odd turret is damaged. Or I'm sorry, the low turret is damaged. So if you attack low, you get to cancel a hit that would normally be applied to you because, you know, the turret's not working. And I got to pause because I'm pretty sure that's how this works, but I want to make sure I'm not missing any nuance here. Okay, I'm glad I read the rule. There was some nuance. I explained everything perfectly, except there's one extra little nuance. If you come in low, yes, you get to cancel a hit, but only if you're evasive. It's just like out of the sun. So if you go determined low, then you have to roll a die, and if it's an even, you cancel it. If it's an odd, you don't. So it's exactly the same rules as out of the sun, except it only affects whether you're coming in high or low. And in our case, we rolled low. If the turret gets damaged a second time, then both of them are damaged. And then and only then will the level get the advantage. You don't get the advantage for level at all. Okay, so that's the situation. Now we're going to roll for the wing. I rolled an 8, and that destroys the plane. So we did all this for nothing. The plane is destroyed. We don't get any experience for our fighter, but we do get 2 for the staffel, and we get a victory point. So there's no complaints. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to get some experience for your fighter, but this is all about the victory points when you're at this phase. And then this last guy, coming in, we have an elevator hit, an engine, so we're up to 2, and another engine, so we're up to 5, and we have 7 tactical points left, so we're actually up to 12. But let's roll. Red die is got to get a 10. The black die can get a 7 to 10. And I got both. So, well, no, actually, it was backwards. So this is a miss, but that was definitely a hit. This bomber is destroyed from the moment we arrive. No big deal. That guy would not have gotten experience anyways. And I'm missing a BF-110 marker. Oh, I found it. All right, and bomber destroyed. So we get another 2 experience points and a victory point. The 2 experience points is more than erasing the lost OP or lost experience points from the BF-110s. But we have another BF-110 that might get destroyed here. So we're not out of the woods yet. We got this little jerk with the wing. And so what do we got? A BF-110. I need a 7 to 10 in order for him to not cost me anything. I rolled a 2. So we're going to lose another one. So I'm at -2 OP and -2 experience. So here's our situation. We scored 4. And so if I sum it up, we were at 19 experience points. I know there's a lot of chicken scratch going on here, but we were at 19. We gained 10 and lost 2. So that would have put us to 29, 28, 27. So we're at 27 total EP. Okay. We were at 14 victory points. We scored 4 more. We're at 18 victory points. And we have -2 OP for the next mission. So the mission notes are really nice to denote that. We still have 3 more missions to go. And just a quick reminder, the victory schedule is 20. Now, what's interesting is the situation manual changes, but it's still 20, even if you use the storm one. But we need 20, and we are at 18 right now. So we just need 2 more to reach a victory for this year. So I would say we're doing quite well. Even with the penalties, the -2 penalty does stink a little. We have the 27, so we're ready to do a big aggressive push. But 18 is putting us right where we need to be. Now, if I wanted to get 40 experience points, which is the double success, I'm behind schedule, right? I need to be over 20 by now in order to get that 40. Because we're halfway through. This is the halfway point, and I'm not quite there. I'm close, though. I just don't think I can get 40. I mean, this is... we'd have to have the right map with the right amount of EP points and all that other stuff. But I do think I can easily get to 20. So then, if I know I'm going to get to 20, and I also know I'm not going to get the double, then you can sort of like cut back and just be a little more conservative. I don't play conservative, though. That's my thing, is I hate doing that. Because it's sort of like, well, you know, to use a football game, American football game analogy, You know, if you're winning by 20 points and time's running out on the clock, you know, you change your plays, you know, where you just sort of, you know, do some simple things so that way you don't fumble the ball or whatever, and you're just trying to run out the clock. That's sort of what can happen in this game, because if I hit this 20 in the next mission 5 and 6, I'm just trying to run out the clock because I know I'm not going to get the double. And so when you're running out the clock, what do? You get this number as high as possible. That 27 EP, I want to get it to 47. I want to get it to 67, you know. Get this to as high as possible. Because when you get this really high, then you can spend 21 points a mission and then do a really aggressive push to get that double victory. Because I think I could have gotten 20 VPs if this was an inbound mission, right? 2 points a kill instead of 1 point a kill, right? That's the idea. Now, the problem, of course, is I'm not real high. If I were to do a real aggressive push, this 27 drops down to 3 or 4. I'm sorry, 6. I would spend 3 times to change numbers. I'd have 6 EP. Yeah, if I down a bunch of bombers, I can get this back up. But you get the idea. Anyways, I'm very happy with the progress of this season compared to last season. And I would just like to really get Barr out of jail so we can use him. And all right, as always, stay awesome and stay healthy and safe. Thanks for watching.